Hello students, welcome to the Hindu News Analysis by Baji IAS Academy. See, today we will discuss some of the most important and relevant news articles. They are very important for UPSC, prelims and mains examinations, and as well as current affairs of state PSC examinations. Okay, so before actually discussing all these important news articles, please subscribe to Bajirao IAS Academy YouTube channel and also hit the bell icon so that you will get all important updates regarding our classes. Given here the list of very important and relevant news articles for today's discussion. The first important news article is with respect to the groundwater exploitation is silently sinking the ground beneath India's feet. Okay, so over exploitation of groundwater will lead to the sinking of the ground. Okay, so that will have a huge consequences. Okay, now the next important news article is with respect to the Narcotics Control Bureau and Navy make a big seizure of drugs in India, right? So in this article we will try and understand the drug trafficking problem in India and the golden crescent and the golden triangle, where they are considered as the largest drug producers in the world. Okay, we will understand what is a golden crescent and golden triangle. Okay, so study on butterflies migration opens door for conservation. Okay. Butterflies play a very crucial role in ecosystem conservation, or they have a wide variety of ecosystem roles. For example, pollination is one such role. Okay, so as part of this article, we will try and understand how migration of butterflies opens a door for conservation. The next article will be Gaganyaan mission, parachutes for re-entry capsule sent to ISRO's facility in Bangalore. Okay, so ISRO has planned to send three crew, okay, three astronauts into the space. Okay, India they are called as Vyomonauts. Okay, so through Gaganyaan mission, three Vyomonauts will be sent to the low Earth orbit for 7 days. Okay, so as part of this article, we will try and understand what exactly the Gaganyaan mission and what is the parachute for re-entry capsule. And the next article is with respect to United Kingdom sees success in mitochondrial replacement therapy. Open network of digital commerce, orders grow, India Post gears up to join in. India Post shown interest to join the open network of digital commerce. Okay, this is a public platform of e-commerce. The next article will be, and the last article is the Kirby tribe of Assam observes a distinctive practice of Choman Khan. Okay, so we will try and understand what exactly is Choman Khan. Now, so this is the first important news article. Okay, the first important news article that exactly is mitochondrial replacement therapy. Now, understand this article. United Kingdom became the first country in the world to approve the reproductive technique of mitochondrial replacement therapy. Right. So after UK, Australia became the second country to approve the mitochondrial replacement therapy. Now, what is mitochondrial replacement therapy? Through which a three-parent in vitro fertilization is actually possible. In mitochondrial replacement therapy, what exactly happens is it actually involves transferring of nuclear genetic material. Okay, so human beings have cells and each cell contains nucleus. Okay, in the nucleus there is a genetic material. Okay, nucleus contains genetic material. Now, this mitochondrial replacement therapy involves transferring of nucleus genetic material from a mother's egg. Okay, so transfer of nuclear genetic material from mother's egg. So, okay, so that has had its nuclear DNA. Okay, this genetic material has nuclear DNA of mother and they're removed so that the embryo does not inherit the mitochondrial disease. Okay, for example, mother have the mitochondrial disease, okay, or defective mitochondria. Mitochondria is not present in the nucleus, rather mitochondria is present in the cytoplasm of cell. Okay, so when genetic material is separated from the nucleus of the mother, so the defective mitochondria will not be inherited to his or her child. Okay, her child. Now, in the mitochondrial replacement therapy, after this, what happens that is this would allow woman carrying the mitochondrial disease. Okay, so the mother she is carrying the mitochondrial disease, and this disease will not be inherited to a children. Okay, this will not be inherited to a child. Now, this will have a healthy children. Okay, mitochondrial diseases to inherit to healthy children. So this resulting in in vitro fertilization embryos combine the sperm from the father. Okay, sperm from the father and egg from the donor. Okay, so this egg contains mitochondria. Okay, the donor egg contains mitochondria, but not the nucleus genetic material, but not the nucleus or genetic material, but rather the donor egg consists of mitochondria, a healthy mitochondria or diseaseless mitochondria, so that this way the child can be made not to infect or not to inherit the diseased mitochondria from her mother. So this is otherwise called as three parent in vitro fertilization. Okay, now please understand this combines sperm egg from the biological parents, and while mitochondria is from the donor's egg, mitochondria is generally inherited from the donor's egg. Now DNA from each of its parents along with 37 genes. So the child will have DNA of mother and as well as DNA of his or her father. Now, along with DNA of mother and father, the child will also have 37 genes from the donor. And this is actually the reason why the baby is called as the process is called as the three parent in vitro fertilization. Okay, so this overall process is called as in vitro fertilization. Now, please understand mitochondrial diseases are very serious, or mitochondrial disorders are very serious problem. Okay, because they create heart, liver diseases, and they will also lead to respiratory problems, and they ultimately lead to the death of the infant. Okay, so because of this reason, because of the death of the infant reason, in case of a defective mitochondrial disease containing mother gives a birth to her baby, and that will lead to the death of the baby. So therefore the three parent in vitro fertilization will avoid the problems, the serious health related problems or death of the new baby. So therefore, please understand United Kingdom become the first country to approve mitochondrial replacement therapy, and second country is Australia. Okay, now please understand what we understood the in vitro fertilization. Now through this infographic, we will try and understand this three parent embryo or three parent in vitro fertilization. Now, healthy nuclear DNA removed from the patient's egg or mother's egg. Okay, mother's egg, and leaving behind the faulty mitochondrial DNA. See, imagine this is the mother's cell. The mother's cell consists of the faulty mitochondrial DNA. So, okay, so mother's cell consists of faulty mitochondria. From this cell, nuclear material is separated. Okay, nuclear DNA genetic material is separated from the egg cell of the mother. Okay, this is patient's egg cell and faulty mitochondrial DNA. Okay, this is faulty mitochondrial DNA. Now this nuclear DNA will be introduced into the donor egg cell with nuclear DNA removed. Earlier the donor egg cell will have the nuclear DNA. Okay, so this nuclear DNA will be removed from the donor egg cell, and the nuclear DNA from the mother will be introduced into the donor egg cell. Okay, donor egg cell. The second procedure is patient's nuclear DNA is transplanted into donor egg with healthy mitochondrial DNA. So unlike the mother egg or the mother egg or the mother cell which consists of faulty DNA, the donor DNA consists of healthy mitochondria. Okay, so it consists of healthy mitochondria. Since it consists of healthy mitochondria, the disease, the mitochondrial disease will not spread to the baby. Okay, so once this nuclear DNA is introduced into the donor egg, then the sperm, the reconstructed egg cell, fertilized with the sperm from the father. Okay, so it will be fertilized with the sperm from the father, and this process usually takes place in the lab Okay, so this process usually takes place in the lab, and after this process, the reconstructed egg will be implanted into the patient. Okay, this will be implanted into the patient, and this will resulting in embryo has three genetic parents, because mitochondria also consists of minute amounts of genetic material along with the genetic or nuclear DNA from father, mother. The three parent baby will also have nuclear DNA from the donor. Okay, so this is actually the procedure of making a three parent embryo. Okay, this is all about the in vitro fertilization of three parent baby. Now, the next important news article is with respect to the study on butterflies migration opens a door for conservation. Okay, so it opens a door for conservation. Now, these are the famous butterfly species in India, and as part of this article, we will know what are the major butterfly species, the other butterfly species, and why they are very important for conservation purposes. Please understand, the millions of milkweed butterflies, they usually undertake migration between the Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats. Okay, so you know the location of Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats. Okay, they located in this area. Okay, these are the Western Ghats and these are the Eastern Ghats. Now, the milkweed butterflies from generally migrate from the Eastern Ghats to the Western Ghats in specific times. Okay, and they generally seek refuge in the Western Ghats because of harsh summers in the Eastern Ghats. The ecological phenomena had been recorded more than a century ago. This is not a new phenomenon, and but it received a very little research and conservation attention. Okay, because it has the migration is focused, or it has gained a very less attention. Okay, so now a new research, a new study has been conducted over the migration patterns of these butterflies, and this has given insights into the migration patterns of milkweed butterflies. Okay, so how the milkweed butterflies have been migrating from the Eastern Ghats to the Western Ghats region, and why, what has been the leading factor, or the what has been the driver of migration from the Eastern Ghats to Western Ghats, in what seasons they are actually migrating. All the details are known by the recent study conducted by a team of researchers. Okay, so this study will have the potential to contribute to the conservation of the butterflies and their migration. Okay, so overall this will contribute for the conservation of butterflies and their migration. Okay, particularly in the face of the ongoing challenges because of climate change and global warming. Okay, so what are those challenges or changes? Changes in land use, habitat degradation, and climate warming. Okay, so these are the changes which have been occurring a very in a dynamic way, so that it will have a potential to contribute for the conservation of butterfly species. Now, please understand how exactly the migration takes place. So, after the southwest monsoon, okay, so this is the southwest monsoon. Okay, after the southwest monsoon, milkweed butterflies migrate westwards from the Eastern Ghats. Okay, they generally migrate from the westwards from the Eastern Ghats. Now, and plains to the Western Ghats, and they become more active when 2 months upon their arrival. Okay, when 2 months upon their arrival, they become more active in the Western Ghats region. However, between October and April, most of the milkweed butterflies congregate in large numbers at specific sites during winter and dry seasons. Okay, so they mostly congregate on the Western Ghats region. However, when summer rains occur in the southern part of India, when summer rains taking place in the southern part of India, the butterflies usually, summer rains usually result in cooling of the entire southern India, and that led to the remigration of, or reverse migration of, butterflies from the Western Ghats to Eastern Ghats. Okay, now the dominant species which are generally involved in migration include dark blue tiger, double branded crow. Okay, so these are the dominant species and which involved in migration. So we need to understand the vital role that butterflies plays in ecosystem services or providing ecosystem services. Their role includes the migration of milkweed butterflies plays a vital ecological role during migration. Okay, so they play a vital ecological role as pollinators, and their movement can also impact the entire ecosystem in both Western Ghats and also in Eastern Ghats. Okay, so their migration is threatened by habitat destruction and climate change, global warming. In recent times, deforestation or the expansion of the agricultural activities or habitation led to the habitat destruction. Okay, so along with the development of infrastructure projects, hydroelectricity projects, so all these factors have been leading to the habitat destruction. Okay, habitat destruction and climate change. Now, studying the migration patterns and feeding habits can throw a light on the interconnectedness between the plant and animal life. Okay, there is an interconnectedness between plant and animal life. For example, plants have been providing food to butterflies. In reverse, in return, butterflies have been acting as an agents of pollination. Okay, they have been acting as agents of pollination. So therefore, this recent study will help us understand the interconnectedness between the plant and animal life. Okay, so please understand the importance of butterflies. An abundance of butterflies shows an ecosystem is healthy. For example, there are indicator species. Okay, there are indicator species. Now, indicator species indicate the health of any ecosystem. Okay, so in the same way, the abundance of butterflies in an ecosystem indicates that the ecosystem is healthy. Now, except Antarctica, butterflies are found in every continent, whether it is South America, North America, Arctic. In all these continents, butterflies are present. So 90% of all plants need a pollinator. Okay, pollination is very important factor in fertilization. Okay, in fertilization of plant species, and this will also ensure food security and food productivity, high food productivity for the farmers. So declining butterflies population will severely impact the ecosystem services, and that includes pollination. Okay, that includes pollination services. Now, bee population is on drop in recent past because of the climate change, deforestation, habitat degradation. The bee population has been decline or in drop. The role of butterflies has become even more vital because of the decline of bee population. Now, low butterfly numbers can affect ecosystems food chain. Okay, so this will readily affect the ecosystem's food chain. Nearly two-thirds of all invertebrates. Okay, nearly two-thirds of all invertebrates. Invertebrates are species with no backbone. Okay, with no backbone. So all nearly two-thirds of all invertebrates are linked to the butterfly on food chain. And food chain, not just the food chain, but also the food web is dependent on the butterfly species. Food web is also dependent on butterfly species. Now, please understand some of the important butterfly species in India. Okay, so this is very important because UPSC in the past has asked the has given the scientific names of few birds and also asked which of the scientific names indicate which of the following species: amphibians, birds, etc. Now, in this context, it is very important for us to understand the species: the plain tiger, common mormon, lemon fancy, common cerulean, tailed jay, Tanway castor, Indian wanderer, common crown, common gull, common emigrant, blue tiger, common evening brown. Okay, so these are the very common butterfly species which we generally found in across India. Okay, so just pause the video and go through all the species of butterflies. Now, the next important news article is with respect to the excessive groundwater exploitation. Excessive groundwater exploitation in the erstwhile green revolution areas. Okay, what are the green revolution areas? The western Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Rajasthan, etc. Okay, so mostly western UP, Punjab, Delhi, Haryana. Okay, so now, please try and understand this article. What exactly this article has been saying. So, there has been a development of cracks in buildings. We observed in Joshimath in last year that there were cracks on buildings. Okay, so that is primarily, the primary responsibility for the cracks on buildings is given for the, you know, subsidence of the land. Okay, it has been given to the subsidence of land in the in Joshimath. Okay, so Joshimath is a hill town in Uttarakhand. Okay, this is a hill town in Uttarakhand. And similarly, a phenomena has been playing out for years in plain areas of Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and Faridabad. And these areas have also experiencing the cracks in buildings or land subsidence. The primary reason which has been given for the such a land subsidence or land sinking is because of excessive groundwater extraction in these states. Okay, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi. Okay, excessive groundwater extraction leads to land sinking. See, you can see here Joshimath how the land or the buildings have been cracking. This is primarily because of land subsidence, because of land sinking. Okay, now agricultural practices in northwest India, they heavily dependent on groundwater withdrawal. Okay, agricultural practices, the all the agricultural practices, they heavily cultivate the water intensive crops. Okay, they cultivate water intensive crops like wheat and also rice. Okay, wheat and rice. Okay, so since they heavily dependent on groundwater withdrawal because they cultivate water intensive crop, so and there is also a limited monsoon. Okay, there is also a limited monsoon, and there is a very less of water recharge attempts. Okay, no watershed management, no water conservation efforts, but farmers have been extracting water, but there are no attempts to recharge aquifers. Okay, recharge aquifers, and that has been led to the excessive groundwater extraction and sinking of the land. Now, Punjab, for instance, account for 76% of groundwater blocks. Okay, so they are water exploited. So 76% of total groundwater blocks are over exploited, and this means that the groundwater can be extracted more than what exactly or what is recharged or what is actually recharged. More is extracted over a time. The underlying aquifers, for example, the deep channels, they store the percolated water. Okay, so after rain takes place, the rainwater percolates into the ground. Okay, this percolates into the grounds, and the percolated rainwater recharges aquifers. Recharges aquifers since there is a huge water exploitation for the agricultural purposes. The recharged water is very low compared to the exploitation of water in the northwestern belt. Okay, so the underlying aquifers, deep channels that store the percolated water, they are not recharged. Okay, they are not recharged, and they very often run dry, and layers of soil and rock above started to sinking. Okay, for example, imagine this is the land area. Okay, this is the land area, and this is the aquifer. Okay, this is actually the aquifer. When the underlying aquifers were emptied by exploitation, the underlying aquifers were exploited by water extraction, the land above, okay, the soil above will sink. Okay, the soil above will sink, and ultimately this will lead to sinking of the top layer. Okay, sinking of the top layer. For example, this is not just limited to the exploitation or extraction of the groundwater. This is also evident from the digging operations. Generally, we dig for, oil, gas, and coal. okay, through the years, and that lead to that are generally examples of soil settlement. Okay, so when oil gas is extracted, then the topsoil will settle. Okay, topsoil will settle, and that led to the soil settlement and the soil sinking to fill the voids created from mining. Okay, so when the water is extracted from the aquifers, there creates a gap. Okay, there creates a void. There creates a void. Now, to fill the void, generally the soil sinks, the topsoil sinks. The link between excessive groundwater extraction and land subsidence is only started to understand, particularly after the GRACE. What is GRACE? Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment Satellites. When we have enough satellite data over the exploitation and sinking of land through the satellite images such as GRACE, only then we are able to understand the relation or the link between excessive groundwater extraction and the land subsidence. Now, please understand the effects or the evil effects of subsidence. Okay, so it lead to the reduction of aquifer capacity. We understood what are the aquifers. Aquifers are actually the deep water channels that store the percolated water underground. Okay, so these are aquifers, and subsidence generally lead to reduction of aquifer capacity. An aquifer can't hold much water when spaces between rocks and sediments get smaller. Okay, so this will further create more and more water crisis or unavailability of water. Now this will damage the infrastructure. Now subsidence can damage the buildings. Okay, you can see the damage that has been caused to the buildings in Joshimath. Okay, Joshimath. So in the same way, it cause damages. Subsidence can damage buildings, roads, and drainage systems. Now, it will also result in changes in drainage of water systems. When the subsidence or the sinking takes place, it will very often change the river courses. Okay, it will very often change the river courses, and that will further lead to the floods. Okay, floods and submergence of low-lying areas. Submergence of low-lying areas, and it will also increase the coastal flooding. Okay, subsidence can cause frequent coastal flooding during high tides. Now coastal flooding also leads to the submergence of fertile agricultural fields, and because of excessive salinity, these lands will no longer support agriculture. Okay, so apart from this, this will also have problems like or challenges like habitat deterioration. Flooding or decreased water quality can destroy wildlife habitats across different ecosystems. Now, please understand some facts about subsidence. Earthquakes can also cause subsidence. Subsidence is also linked to the urbanization. Okay, excessive urbanization is one major factor for land subsidence or land sinking. Because of excessive urbanization, indiscriminate exploitation of groundwater resources will lead to the land subsidence or land sinking. Okay, so the population and use of resources. Over 80% of land in the US is affected by the result of groundwater usage. Okay, so over 80% land in US is also impacted by the excessive groundwater usage. Now subsidence causes the sinking. Okay, so in Venice also subsidence causes sinking due to the weight of the city and groundwater usages. Now the common signs which generally observed during the sinking or subsidence include wall cracks, uneven sidewalks, roads, floors, tilting buildings, increased inland flooding, and abnormal coastal flooding. Okay, so these are the common signs which we observe when a particular piece of land is subsiding or sinking. Now, how can we prevent the land subsidence? Okay, so firstly, using satellite and radar signals. In the earlier case, we get to know about the relationship or link between excessive water exploitation and groundwater subsidence through the satellite data called GRACE. Okay, in the same way, satellites and radar signals in the orbit can measure the changes in the land surface. Secondly, preserving groundwater resources by reusing water resources. And thirdly, artificial groundwater recharge will also help reduce or prevent sinking or subsidence of land. Okay, so because this will increase the aquifer water levels. Okay, this is all about the sinking of land, particularly in the northwestern India, because of the overexploitation of the groundwater resources and emptying the aquifers, underground aquifers. The next news article is Gaganyaan mission. Okay, so Gaganyaan mission is a human space flight mission. Okay, so please understand what is a Gaganyaan mission. This is India's first manned flight to space. Okay, so humans will be sent to space, and this is India's first endeavor to send humans into space. Now, this project was first approved by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, August 15, 2018. Okay, secondly, this will send three-member crew. Okay, three-member crew into space for at least 7 days. Okay, for at least 7 days, three-member crew will be sent to space. Okay, however, originally this mission was planned in the year 2022. In this year, India celebrates 75 years of its independence. However, certain reasons this program, the Gaganyaan mission, has been delayed. Okay, so Indian Space Research Organization also hopes or planning to use the Heavy Launch Vehicle GSLV Mark III for this Gaganyaan mission. Okay, so this is one of the cheapest manned space flights in the world. Okay, so the total estimated cost of Gaganyaan mission is 10,000 crore. India calls its astronauts as Vyomonauts. So please remember, India calls its astronauts as Vyomonauts. Okay, Vyomonauts, because Vyom is a Sanskrit word, a Sanskrit meaning of space. Okay, Vyom is a Sanskrit meaning of space. So therefore, India plans to call its astronauts as Vyomonauts. Now, please also understand, India will become the fourth country after Russia. Okay, so India is only the fourth country after Russia, US, and China to successfully send humans into the space after the Gaganyaan mission. Now, ISRO also hopes to launch the first mission within the 40 months of its date of approval. However, this mission was delayed because of few reasons. Now, what this article has been saying. So, this article has been is about the parachutes. Parachutes were indigenously developed for the safe return of capsule that will carry the astronauts. Okay, so this is the capsule, and this capsule will carry the astronauts. So once they are re-entering, okay, once they are re-entering into the atmosphere, this re-entry vehicle or the re-entry capsule will use parachutes. Okay, it will use parachutes. Now, these parachutes were indigenously developed, and the parachutes for the safe return of the capsule that will carry astronauts proposed under the Gaganyaan program are set to undergo the first fitment test. Okay, so these parachutes will undergo the first fitment test at the Indian Space Research Organization facility in Bengaluru. Now, please understand, these parachutes were developed by the Aerial Delivery Research and Development Establishment. This is actually the Agra-based laboratory. Okay, so the Aerial Delivery Research and Development Establishment is an Agra-based laboratory, and it is working under the Defense Research and Development Organization. Now, this ADR ADRDE has developed parachutes for India's manned spaceflight program, Gaganyaan mission. Okay, so for one-day exams, this is very important. Which of the following, they may ask, which of the following agencies developed parachutes, indigenous parachutes for India's Gaganyaan mission? The answer for this is Aerial Delivery Research and Development Establishment, and this is under the aegis of Defense Research and Development Organization. However, the ADRDE says that the test vehicle demonstration, okay, so the overall demonstration of the working of the parachutes is very important. Okay, so this will be a very significant milestone towards realizing India's ambitious Gaganyaan program. Okay, so this will be very important for realizing India's Gaganyaan program. Now, please also understand the parachute configuration consists of total 10 parachutes. The overall capsule will consist of 10 parachutes, and these 10 parachutes will be used at the different stages. Okay, these 10 parachutes will be used at the different stages, and the primary objective of all these parachutes is safety of VMO Okay, safety of HUMO Okay, so this is all about India's Gaganyaan program and the parachutes which are actually developed by the Aerial Delivery Research and Development Establishment. The next important news article is the the drug seizure. Okay, it is about the drug seizure. So please understand this article. The biggest ever drug seizure that was with the monetary value. So in terms of the monetary value, this is the biggest ever drug seizure. Okay, so this drug seizure was, happened during a joint operation by the Narcotics Control Bureau and the Indian Navy. Okay, so and this drug seizure what took place in Kerala coast. Okay, this was actually took place in Kerala coast. So please also understand around 2,500 kg of metha methamphetamine valued at 15,000 crore. It is originating from Pakistan. Okay, so the total weight, the total drug value is 15,000 crore. Okay, so the total value is 15,000 crore, and the seized drug is 2,500 kg, and it is a drug variety called methamphetamine, and it is originating from Pakistan. Now, what are the factors working in favor of smugglers? So there are few factors which have been working in favor of smugglers, and that will give impetus to drug trafficking. Okay, that gives impetus to drug trafficking or drug smuggling, particularly from India. Okay, so we know there are two areas. One is the crescent, the golden crescent, and also the golden triangle area. Okay, golden triangle area. So these are the areas in the world, the largest drug producing areas. Okay, so later we will discuss what exactly is the golden triangle and the golden crescent. Okay, so the largest drug producers. So one factor is easy availability of couriers, and they paid up to 60,000 for each consignment transfer. Okay, this is one factor that has been favoring the drug trafficking gangs or drug smugglers. The second factor is Indian jails have been ironically helped these smugglers develop new contacts or new connections, and that will give a further boost to developing strong connections or the strong network among the drug smugglers. Third factor is there was a well knit syndicates overseeing the entire operations. So there were several organized and non-state actors have been involved in drug smuggling or drug trafficking. Fourth, there is a non-availability of Pakka roads along the international border, whether it is respect to India-Bangladesh border, India-Myanmar border, and few areas in India-Pakistan border, and the non-development of Pakka roads in Punjab suitable. This is also one such factor which has been favoring the smugglers. Okay, suitable observation posts. There is lack of observation posts and absolute infrastructure in the border areas are the floodlights of drug trafficking. Okay, now the modus operandi. So how the drug trafficking usually takes place? The modus operandi involves tunnels. Okay, they generally develop or dug tunnels from Pakistan to India, and then they traffic drugs. Tunnels dug under the fence and through which drugs in packages strung together in ropes or of cloth transferred. Okay, so once they dug tunnels under the fence, then they transport drugs from one side to the other side. So the next way of modus operandi is complicity of state forensic laboratory staff. Okay, complicity of state forensic laboratory staff. who help with the inaccurate analysis about the purity of narcotics seized. So when the narcotic or the forensic laboratory provide inaccurate analysis of drugs, then the individuals who are generally caught with trafficking drugs would have or would generally face lesser punishments. Okay, would generally face lesser punishments. Okay, so once they release, they again involve in drug trafficking and drug smuggling. Now, smugglers in India use the SIM cards of Pakistan, and Pakistani people, Pakistani smugglers use SIM cards of India. Okay, so this is one way of evading the technical surveillance by the law enforcement agencies. Okay, so these are the factors which have been favoring the smugglers, and this is the modus operandi of smugglers. Okay, so please also understand a diverse route, how smugglers actually transporting the drugs. Okay, how they are transporting the drugs from one area to the other, or one country to the other country. Now, heroin is smuggled into India from Pakistan. Okay, heroin is a type of drug, and this is being transported to India from Pakistan, from Delhi. Okay, so it is shipped to Europe and US from India itself. Now, methaqualone is the another variety of drug, is mostly carried by concealing. It civates in registered packages. And the golden triangle. Okay, so this is the area of the golden triangle, the largest drug production region. So this golden triangle consists of Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand. This is very important. Please remember the countries which fall under the golden triangle include Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand. Okay, so there are few other countries which come under the golden crescent. Okay, so the golden crescent countries include Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. Okay, so these three countries includes the Golden Crescent. Now, Golden Triangle is an opium producing zone. In this region, opium is excessively produced. Opium producing zone, and that includes Myanmar, Thailand, Laos. In the Golden Crescent, used to describe an area for opium trade. Okay, this is also an area to describe opium trade. Since India is bordered with all these countries, there is a very high drug trafficking or drug, abuse. Okay, high drug abuse problem in India. Okay, so therefore, the Narcotics Control Bureau, Indian Coast Guard, Indian Navy have been regularly conducting the operations, marine operations, okay, to marine operations to, catch such a huge seas of drugs which are generally transported through the maritime route. Okay, they are transported through the maritime route. Okay, so in our previous classes, we have also discussed that Ministry of Home Affairs has launched the Nasha Mukti Bharat. Okay, Nasha Mukti Bharat campaign. So, as part of this campaign, the Ministry of Home Affairs has also been planning to reduce the punishments who are generally addicted with the drugs, who are the youth which are addicted with the drugs. Okay, so that they come forward and they join the drug de-addiction centers. Okay, drug de-addiction centers. So this way we will make the influence or the impact of drugs will be further reduced along with the number of security and surveillance operations. So this is all about the seizure of drugs in India. So the next important news article is with respect to the open network of digital commerce. Okay, so what exactly is the open network of digital commerce? So what is open network of digital commerce? It is often referred to as UPI of e-commerce. Okay, for example, UPI is something through which we can use, every bank account. Okay, we can link all the bank accounts into our UPI account. So, in the same way, the open network of digital commerce, also referred to as e-commerce, as the UPI of e-commerce. Now, it also hosts the sellers. Okay, it also hosts the sellers and the buyers, and also different platforms which offer the e-commerce services. Okay, so the primary goal is to democratize or decentralize the e-commerce space. Okay, democratize the e-commerce space. Now it is freely accessible for both buyers and sellers, and it is backed by the government platform. Okay, this is a government backed platform, and this aims to democratize the e-commerce. Okay, it will be accessible for everyone because this is an open platform. By moving from a platform centric, for example, Amazon. Okay, Amazon, an e-commerce platform, this is platform centric. Flipkart, this is also e-commerce site, and this is also a platform centric. Now the open network of digital commerce focus is on moving from the platform centric model to an open network for buying and selling of goods and services. Okay, so this is not a platform centric, but rather it is an open network. Okay, this is an open network where buyers and sellers can freely access the open network of digital commerce. So through open network of digital commerce, governments aim to put in place structure for sellers and logistics, okay, service providers, and that will connect buyers. So one of the objectives is to create a level playing field for e-commerce chains. Okay, so there are different e-commerce chains or the small e-commerce companies, and now the open network of digital commerce will provide a level playing field between the big giant retail big e-commerce companies such as Amazon and Flipkart and retail sellers. Okay, so this will provide a level playing field for e-commerce giants and small traders, and this will curb the dominance of large foreign-owned e-commerce companies such as Amazon in India. Okay, so this is the objective of open network of digital commerce. Okay, so the open network of digital commerce core aim is to enable the e-commerce for small sellers and businesses. Okay, so there are several small sellers and businesses. Generally the platform centric models cannot allocate their services to the small sellers. Okay, but however, the open network of digital commerce will enable e-commerce for small sellers and businesses. Now parallels have been drawn with UPI. Okay, because this is also called as UPI of e-commerce. Okay, UPI of e-commerce, because it could do for e-commerce what UPI did for digital payments. Whatever UPI did for digital payments, the open network of digital commerce will also do for e-commerce. Now, customers can freely, openly access sellers on open network of digital commerce through any app. Okay, through any app that is integrated with the overall network of open network of digital commerce. Now, sellers will handle deliveries through tie-ups with logistics firms. For example, there are several logistics firms. So, in this article given in the newspaper, it says that open network of digital commerce or India Post is ready to be a logistic firm in open network of digital commerce. Okay, so now what happens is that the India Post will deliver to the buyers through open network of digital commerce. For example, if a consumer buys anything from the open network of digital commerce, and that will be delivered through the India Post. Okay, that will be delivered to the customers or the consumers through the open network of digital commerce, and that is the article. That is what the article has been saying. Now, open network of digital commerce will also have embedded services. Okay, what are the embedded services? Like ledgers or payment processes. So this will also process the payments. Okay, so this is all about the open network of digital commerce. Now the next important news article is songs for the soul. Okay, songs for the soul. Now Kirby tribe, they live in Kirby Anglong district. Okay, they live in Kirby Anglong district of Assam. Okay, Kirby Anglong district of Assam. Now Kirby tribe of Assam observes a distinctive practice. Okay, this practice is known as Shomankan. Okay, this practice is known as Shomankan. Now this is actually a ceremony to remember the dead that lasts 4 days and nights. Okay, that actually lasts for 4 days and nights. Now, the Karbi people make one of the major tribes of Assam. Okay, so they make the one of the major tribes of Assam, with most of them living in Karbi Anglong district. Okay, so Karbi Anglong district is one of the districts in Assam, and the Karbi tribe is one of the most or the major tribe in the Karbi Anglong district of Assam. Okay, so they are expert weavers. Okay, Karbi Anglong districts, the Karbi tribe are expert weavers, and they generally practice the Jum cultivation. Okay, so they cultivate the Jum cultivation. So Jum cultivation is also the one form of shifting cultivation. Okay, this is one form of shifting cultivation which is practiced by the Karbi tribe in Assam. Now, but the most distinctive practice is an elaborate death ceremony. Okay, their elaborate death ceremony, and this death ceremony is known as Chomangan. Okay, so this death ceremony is known as Chomangan. Now, while the funeral ceremony is performed at the time of cremation, they perform the at the time of cremation they perform the funeral. Okay, so a unique festival is held at a later date. Okay, unique festival is held at a later date on the remembrance of the departed. Now Kirbis believe in the immortality of the soul. Okay, they believe in the immortality of the soul, and they also believe in the life after death and also rebirth. Okay, so it is believed that unless spirits of the dead are sanctified with the rituals which are conducted as part of the Chomangakan. Okay, once the rituals will be conducted as part of Chomangan, they do not get peace. Okay, so this is most elaborate and expensive of the ceremonies of Kirby's. Chomangan lasts for 4 days and 4 nights. Okay, so this is all about the Chomangakan practice, which is generally practiced by the Kirby tribe of Assam. Okay, for the culture perspective, this is very important, but also remember the Kirby tribe, they generally live in Assam. Okay, so these are all the relevant and important news articles. Okay, thank you.